Then Mbappe, in the final lines of his statement, says Paris Saint-Germain is a big club, is a big family, but it's also clear that Paris Saint-Germain is not Kylian Saint-Germain. Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. And today guys, we touch on Kylian Mbappe, why he published that statement, what happened with Paris Saint-Germain, but also we touch on Jeremy Frimpong as we have an important update on the right back playing for Bayer Leverkusen and Dani Ceballos out of contract with Real Madrid. Let's jump into it together. And so guys, one of the stories of the day, on the same day of Frank Lampard officially announced and unveiled as new Chelsea caretaker manager until the end of the season. So Chelsea have been clear again in the statement that they are looking for a new coach for the summer, for a long-term job. But one of the stories of the day is about Kylian Mbappe. With a public statement, Mbappe was absolutely furious and not happy with the situation of Paris Saint-Germain, discussing about a campaign, a public campaign of Paris Saint-Germain for the next season. What happened? Paris Saint-Germain published a video to push the campaign for the season tickets 2023-2024. Mbappe was almost everywhere in that campaign, in that video, but he posted by saying that he was not aware of that campaign, that that video was not made for that campaign, so he was not aware of that, and also that he was not in agreement with the club on that video. He said, I disagree with that. Also, Kylian Mbappe mentioned the image rights. He said, this is why I always negotiate my own image rights, because I want to take care of these kind of things. Then Mbappe, in the final lines of his statement, says Paris Saint-Germain is a big club, is a big family, but it's also clear that Paris Saint-Germain is not Kylian Saint-Germain. So he wanted to send a strong message. He was not happy at all about that. He did that via social networks. And so this is why Kylian Mbappe wanted to go worldwide with this message. So let's see how Paris Saint-Germain will react. But for sure, this is something to underline in this moment that is really complicated with Paris Saint-Germain. We know that they are going to decide the new coach situation in the next weeks and months, because Paris Saint-Germain will probably change the manager. But this is still not 100% decided who's going to be the new coach. But with Kylian Mbappe, this is one more thing to discuss with him and with his camp. So one thing to watch about Kylian Mbappe, and we also know that at the moment there is total standby with Leo Messi on the contract extension, so not an easy situation to manage at all for Paris Saint-Germain. But we move on to news, an important news, an exclusive news about Jeremy Frimpong, because his agent, Jeffrey Lemmert, we know he had a meeting with Manchester United. It was shared by Sky Day, and we can confirm that this happened. It was a meeting, but Jeremy Frimpong is a name I told you in October, in November for Manchester United, because he's a player they appreciate, he's a player they are scouting since long time, and so they really like Jeremy Frimpong at Manchester United. But the situation of right backs depends on Wan-Bissaka. If Wan-Bissaka will leave the club in the summer, they can go for that kind of player, and Frimpong, for sure, he's on the list at Manchester United. So there was a meeting, but from what I understand, is my information that Jeffrey Lemmert, the agent of the player, also had direct meetings with Barcelona. We know Barca could go for a right back depending on the financial fair play. This was just a meeting to discuss about the situation of the player and the potential conditions of the deal with Bayer Leverkusen, but also important to mention Bayern, because these two clubs, Barca and Bayern, also had discussions with the camp of Jeremy Frimpong, as Manchester United did. The expectation is for Frimpong to leave the club in the summer. Bayer Leverkusen received some approach in January, but they decided to keep the player and eventually sell him in the summer. Let's see if an important proposal will arrive. It could be around 25 million euros, maybe 30. We have to see in the next weeks, but for sure there is a lot of interest in Jeremy Frimpong, who is doing very, very well. He's one of the most interesting right backs in Europe right now, speaking about young players on that position. So Man United, Barca, and now also Bayern keeping an eye on the situation of Jeremy Frimpong. We know that for Bayern, of course, the priority remains to discuss the situation of Joao Cancelo. The decision will be made in the next months about Cancelo together with Thomas Tuchel. Also, guys, on Cancelo, let me clarify that he's another player appreciated by Barcelona, but again, it depends on what Bayern will decide, and Bayern will not trigger the buy option, 70 million euros. Eventually, they will negotiate with City, but they're not going to pay 70 million euros for Joao Cancelo, that's for sure. And then Dani Ceballos. Many questions about him. At the moment, I'm not aware of a direct negotiation with Bayern. We had some reports about that, but I'm not aware. The story is on Atletico Madrid. At the moment, from what I understand, nothing is advanced between Atletico Madrid and Ceballos. They appreciate the player, but Ceballos wants to stay and continue at Real Madrid. This is the idea of the player. He's waiting on the club. The club will speak to Ceballos, Modric, and many other players in the next weeks, so close to the end of the season, not now. This is why it's gonna take time, but Ceballos is gonna wait for Real Madrid. He wants to wait for Real Madrid to speak with Real Madrid and then to make a decision on the contract. So we will follow that one, but at the moment the situation with Ceballos is that he wants to give priority again to Real Madrid. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on these situations, Kylian Mbappe and PSG. Jeremy Frimpong, do you like him? Where do you see his future? Dani Ceballos as potential free agent would be a big opportunity, but Real Madrid is his priority. I wait for your comments, guys. Here as always, remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon with Fabrizio.